What's going on, everybody? Thanks for clicking on the video. This is David Pendleton, and today we're going to talk about pro qualifying round walkthrough for the Winter Sun Tournament. First of all, thanks for being patient while I got this out here today. I was playing pro yesterday, and I wasn't getting shots to fall, so I really wanted to mess around with some odd setups and changing my elevation on a few holes. And today it really worked. So just bear with me as I explain to you what I'm doing, because I'll probably be playing a little bit different than maybe some other people that you might be watching. Maybe some will be the same, I don't know. But, I'll show you what I did here. Minus 15. So very happy, with this type of score. Hopefully we can continue this through the rest of the tournament. If you're not a subscriber, please become one. It would mean a lot to me. And secondly, if you find this video helpful, please take just a moment to hit the thumbs up button and like the video. That does mean a lot to people who create YouTube videos like myself. So let's go ahead and go into our replays here. So hole number one was a hole that was giving me problems yesterday, and I don't know why, because I was hitting this shot no problem with this type of wind angles in practice mode last week. But I was playing with a different ball, so maybe that was the problem. Anyways, I adjusted today what I was doing wrong yesterday, because I kept clipping the rough. So yesterday I was aiming more along those two bushes on the left-hand side there. That was really more like the first bush. So you're going to notice what I do here is I aim right in the middle of this right-hand side bush, and then I bring my target down a couple yards. This is just to replicate people that don't have an extra mile 9. The biggest thing that I would say is keep in mind that I'm only using 2 bars of top spin, 3 bars of right side spin. And yesterday I was using 3 bars of top spin and 3 bars of right side spin. And that was clipping the rough, like I said. So this shot worked out a lot better from this angle. And you can see here we hit a really good drive. And the only thing that I would tell you about this drive is it does seem the wind is all over the place in the game. So, I've seen a couple 4.6 mile per hour winds, and I've got up to 6.7 on this hole. Depending on your wind strength is going to depend a lot on how this ball goes. It's not going to be this perfect every single time, but no matter what, you're definitely going to be within a good range to drop the eagle, or if for some reason you do roll into the sand or the rough there, you're still going to be at very close distance for a good opportunity, like I said, to hit eagle. Worst case scenario, you birdie the hole. But when we get this close, we're going to be with our wedge. And I play at no elevation with the wedge, even though the shot is uphill. You're going to see a thorn shot next. The biggest thing you have to see here is this green is glitchy. We normally try to go with a max top spin approach with our wedge. But depending on where you land on the fairway, you might get the green glitch like I did. So don't panic if that happens. Just change your approach. Always try to land on the fringe on this hole like I am here. And like I said, I pulled this one at 0%. 2 bars of top spin with plenty of speed, and we drop it in dead center for the eagle. Now, on this one, I will tell you here. So notice my opponent. My opponent is in the sand. And the weird thing was we played almost a very similar shot. So like I said, depending on your wind strength, this ball can take off a little weird on you. But notice how I had much less distance on this shot. Well, not much less, but it's less. So this is shot number 2 with a thorn. And I played this one at minus 5%. And I played it at minimum distance of my club here. And again, notice how I'm getting this green glitch. Like, look at my ball guideline up here. And then they get really short. So the biggest thing here is apply your backspin to get your landing zone really smooth. And sometimes it's hard to find, but just make sure. So you can see here, the less backspin that I used, the more consistent my ball guide became. And here I started to run out of time, but I was able to pull my rings at minimum distance, minus 5%. I'm playing this uphill when we use our short iron. And you'll see here, this ball goes in, again, for a cup for an eagle. So I'm really glad that I was able to get this with 2 different clubs to show everybody a little variance that you might get. Okay, hole number 2, I'm playing 35% at minimum. And I kept missing this to the left-hand side yesterday, no matter what I did. So I want you to notice here, I'm offsetting this shot quite a bit. And this was full back spin, 1 bar of right side spin with the quarterback. Perfect ball. We are still going to miss to the left-hand side. Now, this is as close as I've been. Like, we're not even half a green square away from dropping that shot. So the only advice that I could give for anybody watching is to offset this shot even more. So notice here where my yellow ring is. My yellow ring is not touching the rough. That orange or red ring is about halfway through the rough. I would suggest offsetting that shot and putting the yellow ring exactly on the rough line, which is going to make your shot be way more offset to the right, and hopefully that ball can get in the hole for you. This is a very hard hole-in-one to pick up, and for anybody who gets it, you're going to be at a really big advantage over the rest of the competition. Okay, hole number 3 is a little bit weird, but I got a couple different ways to show you on shot number 2. Biggest thing we want to do here is play the drive safe. We have got to make sure that we land on the fairway. If you're going to land in the rough, you need to do it with a great right and not a great left, because I did hit a great left yesterday, and I could not reach the green in 2. I had to lay up on the top part of the fairway in front of the green and save my shot with the wedge. I mean, it wasn't difficult to hit the eagle, but it'll be a lot better to be on the right-hand side of the rough. Now, here is shot number 2 if you want to play the bounce over. The bounce over is a good approach. It just plays a little odd. I don't like the way the green rolls, and it's hard to find the right elevation and the right offset. This shot right here is played at 10% elevation at mid-distance. And you'll see here with the perfect ball how the ball reacts. Like, it's really not even close. We are several green squares away to the right-hand side of the cup with a perfect ball and aiming dead center. So I decided to try the rough bump. Anytime that we can get almost a perfect crosswind is a great opportunity to try a rough bump. You can see here I'm already at max distance of my sniper, which is going to make the ring pull even easier because we can absolutely use the max distance numbers. I went ahead and just played this one 1 for 1. So the wind is 4.5. So I pull this 4.5 rings. Another perfect ball. You'll see there we clip the rough. Plenty of rough to work with. And we still miss this one full green square to the right-hand side. So I think we need to apply a little bit of left side spin if you go for that rough bump. But there's a couple different ways at hole number 3. You'll just have to figure out what style works best for you and, if you're comfortable with that rough bump or not. Okay, hole number 4, I kept missing to the right-hand side yesterday. Kept missing to the right-hand side. So today, this is what I did. And we've done this in previous tournaments in the past on this hole and on other holes. I was trying to offset yesterday, and today on my first attempt at this hole, I tried to offset even more. So you're going to see me go here, max backspin with my blue ring almost touching the fringe line. See how there's just a little bit of space? It's almost touching the fringe line. I'm aiming directly at the center of the hole. And then from here, I'm going to just apply half a bar of side spin to the left, which seems pretty good. This is what our ball guideline is going to look like after we apply our spin. Then we will actually pull our rings. We are going to pull this one. We hit the perfect ball. And you can see here that we drop it in the left-hand side of the cup. So this hole, to me, shouldn't be that hard. It's been a really easy hole-in-one in previous tournaments past. But for some reason, for me, I was struggling a little bit. And when I was thinking about it last night, that was really the only thing I could think of to try to do differently. And it worked. 1 for 1, but, best of luck with that one. Okay, hole 5, I'm going to show you a trick shot here. And I'm going to tell you why I'm doing this. And I've done this in other tournaments. You could play this hole 3 different ways. You could play left-hand side straight up and play the second shot at a massively downhill shot. The only problem in pro when you do that is the shot is so elevated that, 1, you're going to need to use a Goliath for the power, which a lot of people don't like using, but I do. But 2 is the wind's strength is going to determine your elevation because you have to trick yourself into pulling more rings. So that shot number 2 can be played anywhere from like 30 to 40% elevation, like maybe even up to 70 and 80 depending on the wind strength. So in my opinion, I do not think it is a consistent way to play the hole. If you want a more consistent way to play the hole, you're better off actually driving to the right-hand side and playing shot number 2 straight up with the sniper. That's going to be, in my opinion, a much safer way to play the hole and to try to dial in an eagle. That is not the way that I play this hole, especially in this wind angle. And no, you do not need an extra mile 9 to pull off this shot. All you're going to want to do here is apply your top spin, and you're going to want to find this spot on the rock to where your ball guideline is showing on the fairway, just like that. You see how my ball guideline is showing on the fairway, and my yellow ring is kind of on the rough line here? All you're going to do is pull 10%, and you're going to use yourself about 75% curl to the left-hand side. I was very lucky here that I hit a great shot and got away with it. But I've hit this shot great left. I hit this shot great right. I've hit it perfect a couple times yesterday. And it's the same result every single time. It lands on the middle of the fairway. Now, the only difference is how far sometimes it goes. And that's just going to be just how the ball ricochets off the rocks. This is a very good way to play this hole. And you're going to see shot number 2. You don't have to worry about a massively downhill shot. You don't have to worry about a long-range shot with your sniper. You can play this shot with your thorn. Here I was trying to bounce off the fringe like I normally try to do with this club. I just missed the fringe. I hit the green. So my ball didn't slow down as much as I wanted to, but we still dropped the eagle in there. So yeah, a little bit lucky that I got the eagle off the hop, but I do think had I adjusted properly and hit the fringe like I wanted to, that would have deadened my ball a little bit and rolled into the cup instead of bouncing into the cup. But there is a very different way to play hole number 5, and we move on to hole number 6, which is extremely difficult. The reason that I stopped playing yesterday was because of hole number 6. I ended up getting a birdie on it on both my accounts, and it's just because I was trying to get too fancy and try to get an albatross, which I decided today really isn't a good way to play it when you're going to get back-to-back headwind. So for here, I am overpowering my shot with the Berserker. Yesterday I played it once with the Kingmaker, and then I played it with the Berserker on another account. You can definitely get to the green in 2 with a Kingmaker. It's a lot easier to use a Big Dog or the Cataclysm when you get the headwind for shot number 2. But then today I decided, okay, I'm just going to play it. I was trying to play it above the rough yesterday in direct headwind, and I got stuck in the rough once, and then I pounded the sand on the other one. That's just because I just played the hole wrong. So this time, what I suggest is play it more on the right-hand side of the rough here. Don't play it on the big fat part of the rough up there. Use the side spin to get to the hole. But the biggest thing here when you go to adjust your rings is you're going to be adjusting into overpower. So you're going to have to overpower this shot. I played the shot with no elevation. I was just trying to play it 1-for-1 with the wind and then going into my overpower. You'll see here I hit a great shot, but a lot better result. We end up on the green. We just take the eagle and we move on to this hole, which I'm going to show you 2 different ways to play it, okay? And again, this is going to be a little bit different than some other people. So 10% on the drive here. This is pretty straightforward. Max right spin just to make sure we don't catch that slope. See how much the green or the fairway slopes from right to left? I hit a great ball to the left, which I keep doing on this hole, and I end up down here. Now, the one thing to note on this hole is that if you hit a great left like I did, you're going to be closer to the pin. If you hit a perfect shot, you're going to be further away from the pin. If you hit a great right, you'll be even further away than a perfect ball, right? Hopefully that makes sense and you can follow along why that would be. So great left, I roll down this hill more, and I'm closer to the pin. Leaves me with this shot for shot number 2, which I do believe, anyway, this is the best way to play it with a Grizzly. So you'll see I move up here to the rough bump, and I think a lot of people will play this rough bump. I think it's harder to find the right elevation and the right spin combination when you have tailwind with crosswind and you pull into the sand. And also, if you hit a great left, you're not going to be able to play that shot anyways because you're going to get caught in between clubs like I did, which is why I packed my Grizzly today. Yesterday I had my Goliath and my Sniper, and it wasn't pretty. So today I made sure to have a Grizzly in my bag, and I kept missing this hole to the left, which is why you see me offset to the right-hand side here. My ball guideline is still in the cup, but it is on the right-hand side of the cup. We did get the perfect ball, and we sneaked that one in for the eagle as well. So if you don't like that shot, you can try to do this shot here. You can try to get a little creative with it. Again, you definitely don't need an extra mile 9 to pull this off. As you can see here, that top spin has me going way, way past the fairway and green. But regardless, I'm just going to play this one right over here. I'm using about, again, almost a full ball of curl to the right this time. And we clip that rough and we roll out. Doesn't matter if we clip the rough or not. You're going to land on the fairway if you execute that shot correctly. Now we get to play this shot with a Goliath rough bump, which I think is another really good way to play the hole. So you can see here, we're using quite a bit of top spin and then max side spin to the left. I've got my ball guideline, or not my ball guideline, but my target smack dab almost in the middle of that, in the rough there, just to make sure that I give myself room for a great right or great left. My ball guideline is going through the pin, but ultimately it's not enough through the pin, so we need to use a little bit more top spin, okay? Because you're going to see here, perfect ball, but then the ball just died. It was on its way to the hole, but because I didn't use enough top spin, it just died there. So a little bit more top spin, and you'll be okay. All right, this hole is weird. This one, I just really couldn't figure out a good way to play it. This shot you're going to see right here is played at 50% elevation with max backspin at a quarterback at absolute minimum distance. So notice how heavy the ball guideline is through the hole. And I play it at 50%, which means we have to pull a lot of rings. Perfect ball. And this thing dies two green squares before the pin. So the only advice that I could give somebody here is, I don't know, play it at 70%, play it at 75% elevation. I mean, all that's going to do is make you pull more rings back towards the backhand part of the green, which is good because that's going to give us more distance. So you could just trick the elevation and play it like 75% at minimum distance. Or, I mean, you could if you wanted to. I've never had success with it in the past. Is you could try to use like a kingmaker and a sniper, and you could play before the bunker on the fairway. And I would imagine you definitely have to use some top spin to power the ball towards the pin. I just don't know how that ball would roll. It's not something that I tried in headwind. But I'm going to just take this one as a very difficult hole in one and just play it safe in this wind angle for the birdie. Okay. That's it, right? And one more? Yeah. Okay, so this is hole number 9, and the reason that I don't have any graphics up here for the elevation is because I played both shots at 0%. All I'm doing here is using top spin combined with left side spin. I'm just making sure that my second bounce is on the fairway at the top and as middle as a fairway as I can. I use a little bit of left curl. I hit a great shot to the left, so I'm very lucky to get away with that. So obviously if you don't hit a great shot, you're going to be fine. Even a great left we see is fine. Shot number 2, all I did was play it 1-to-1. The wind is 5.1 miles an hour, so I'm going to pull this one 5.1 rings. Here you can see that I'm using just a smidge of right side spin, like 0.1 bars of side spin to the right with a little bit of back spin as well. 1-to-1 ring pull, perfect ball. And I guess I shouldn't have played any of that right side spin at all, because look how close we get this one in for an albatross. Like, come on, it's so close. But hey, that is it for pro. Again, I appreciate your patience. I hope you found this video helpful. If you do, again, please subscribe, please hit the like button, and I will see you in the next round. Thanks, everybody.